Hello student, in today's lecture we are going to start with the aquatic mammals and their adaptations. Okay? So what are aquatic animals? Here we are referring to the mammals only. So there are many animals which are aquatic. Yeah? So mammals are primarily terrestrial animals, but few of them have adapted an aquatic mode of life. So, this aquatic mammals is basically evolved from the terrestrial mammals, and this fact is proved by actually what happened. Aquatic animals, the other animals like fishes and all, or invertebrates refer to the which are actually a complete aquatic animal. They will be breathed through the gills, or there will be different respiratory organs will be there. Yeah? But here what happens in aquatic mammals, they breathe through through lungs. Okay, and this indicate that they were originally or they originate from the terrestrial mode of life. Okay, so all aquatic mammals are terrestrial lung breathers. Okay, and which will be having or which have reverted back to the aquatic life. And why they have moved to the aquatic mode of life? Because there has been a extreme competitions on the land for food and shelter. So in order to overcome this, they have moved back to the water, that is to the aquatic mode of life. Okay. The aquatic mammals are the organisms that live in and in the water, and they will basically rely on aquatic ecosystem for all the part um, for throughout their life. Okay, this aquatic ecosystem include both marine and freshwater system. Okay, plus these aquatic mammals, as they are belong to the class mammalia, so they are warm blooded animal that will be breathed through lungs. Okay, and they will be having a hair at some point of their development. Okay, and basically in a fetus there has been a presence of hair, but at the adult stage it has been degenerated or get disappeared, and it other modifications takes place. Okay, then they nurse their young one with their milk, okay, through the mammary gland. So this is the important, like they are warm blooded, then presence of hair, and they nurse the important factor, that the presence of mammary gland that characterize or characteristic of the class mammalia. Okay, so this aquatic, there are several aquatic mammals, and these aquatic mammals belong to the several orders of class Mammalia. Okay, and depending on the degree of aquatic adaptations, the aquatic mammals have been classified into three categories: amphibious mammals, aquatic mammals, and marine mammals. Amphibious mammals include like beaver, muskrat. Okay, uh, they do not live permanently in water, but they live or live uh, or on land, but go into the water for food and shelter. Okay, they show like partial aquatic adaptations, like presence of small external ears, web feet, then flattened nails, subcutaneous fat. These are the some aquatic adaptation, partial aquatic adaptation observed in the amphibious mammals. Okay, the mammals of this category include beaver, muskrat, then otter, and many others. Okay, and the amphibious mammals belong to the several orders of class Mammalia, such as Carnivora, Rodentia, Marsupialia, Monotremata, Okay, so then Atriodactyla. So these are the different orders. The members of these orders are also classified into the amphibious mammals. Okay, then second category is the aquatic mammals. The mammals under this category spend most of their time in water. Okay, but for they return to the land for the reproduction. And the typical example of this type of aquatic mammals is seal and hippopotamus. Okay, so they will be spending much of their lifespan, much of the time in a water. Okay, but they need to return to the land for the reproduction purpose. Okay, the next category is the marine mammals. These mammals never come to the land, or they are permanent resident of the aquatic mode of life or marine. Okay, and they are perfect and this marine ecosystem forms a perfect home. Okay? The typical example of this marine mammals is whale. Okay, now we will see the aquatic adaptations. The adaptations, or this, what is adaptation? Basically they are characters, the modification that may be morphological, structural, physiological, or behavioral modification, or the or character which helps the organism in order to survive in a changing environment. Okay, so the aquatic adaptation or the specialization of this aquatic, truly aquatic mammals like cetacea and the class order Cetaceae and Sirenia are divided into three major categories. Basically, this modification of the aquatic uh, of the aquatic mammals are classified into three categories. That is, first is the modification in the original structure. The original structure which were possessing in the through mammal. Okay, the terrestrial mammals having a original characters, and after moving to the aquatic mode of life, this original structure, how they have been modified, it has been not getting degenerated, it is just have modified. Okay, so in this category we will see a different modification that will help the organism to survive in the aquatic mode of life. Then second category is the loss of structure. What was its original structure were help or help the organism to survive on a terrestrial or land has been lost, that we are going to see. And third will be what are the new organs or the new structures that have been developed in order to survive in a aquatic uh, mode of life. Okay, so first we are going to see about the modification of its original structures. The first is the body shape. In aquatic mammals, the body shape is the prime importance, because the extent it will be the has the lot of pressure of the water, plus the uh, other factors like abiotic factors like presence of light and all, then the waves, this all will affect. And this all factors will first come in contact with the body shape of the organism. So the body shape of the aquatic mammals is the externally it is like a fish like. Okay, they will be having an elongated head, indistinct neck, and tapering streamlined body. This will offer a little resistance and swim rapidly through the water. Okay, the next point is the large size and the weight. In aquatic mammals, the large size and the body weight helps the aquatic mammals. How it will be going to help? For example, in a whale bone whale, okay, uh, they grow up to 35 meters in length and they measures about 150 ton. Okay, the large size reduces a skin friction and loss of heat, but it creates some problems for support of the support in a water buoyancy. This large size and weight will help the organism in survival, but is it also affect will be like boon for them because it creates a problem for the buoyancy. Okay, but it also in other hand, in the large size reduce the skin friction and loss of heat, which is very important for the normal metabolism of the organism. Okay, the next point is the flippers. In aquatic mammals, the forelimbs are transformed into skin covered unjointed pedal or the flipper. They will be having and there is no separate indications of fingers are present. So these flippers are the nothing but full transformed forelimb which will be covered into the skin and it will be unjointed pedal like. Okay, these pedals or the flippers can move as a whole only at the shoulder joint. The broad and the flattened pedals or the flippers serve as a balancer and provide stability during swimming. Okay. The next point or next characteristic is the hyperdactyly and the hyperphalange. The hyperdactyly is the extra digits and the hyperphalange is the extra phalanges. Okay, so in aquatic animals this extra digits and extra phalanges will be range up to 14 or it may be exceed more than that in some forms, and this hyperdactyly and hyperphalange will serve to increase the surface area of the flippers for greater utility of the swimming in the water. Okay, the next modification of its original structure is the high and valvular nostrils. In you have noticed, for example, in a whale, basically, that is in the nostrils are placed far back on the top of the head. So why it has been placed at the top of the head? It is simple that the animal, whenever this animal come in order to breathe the air, okay, so they does not require to raise their head or they does not require to come out of the water. They just raise their head much out of the water and the air is inhaled. Okay, and these nostrils can also be closed by the thin valves during the diving in the water. Okay, the next character is the presence of mammary ducts in aquatic mammals. Basically during the lactation times this mammary ducts of the mammary gland dilate, okay, to form a large reservoir for milk, okay, and which will be pumped directly into the mouth of the young one by the action of special compressor muscles. And this with this facilities, the young one can be sucked the milk under the water. Okay, the next is the next point is the oblique diaphragm. In aquatic mammals, this oblique diaphragm makes the thoracic cavity larger, dorsal, and barrel in the shape of barrel. Okay, and this provides more space for the lungs expansion during respiration. Okay, the next is the the aquatic mammals will be having a large lungs. The large unlobed, lobulated and highly elastic lungs ensure taking down maximum amount of air before submerge. Okay, and while swimming, this for example, in a fishes have a swim bladders, na? So similarly to the swim bladders of the fishes, the dorsal lungs also serve as a hydrostatic organ. It will maintain a horizontal posture during swimming. Okay, so large presence of large lung in aquatic mammals provides maximum amount of inhalation of air, plus is also maintain the buoyancy, that is the hydrostatic. It also acts as an hydrostatic organ in order to maintain the horizontal posture during swimming. Okay, the next point is the intranarial epiglottis. In aquatic mammals, this intranarial epiglottis is elongated tubular, like, which embraces by a soft plate. Okay, and this provides a continuous and separate air passage, thus allowing a breathing and the feeding simultaneously to go on. Okay, so this intranarial epiglottis will provide breathing plus feeding to conduct simultaneously. Okay, the next point is about the endoskeleton. In aquatic mammals, the cranium, okay, becomes small, but it wider to accommodate a short and a wide brain. The facial part of the skull projects, forming elongated snout or rostrum. Similarly, the zygomatic arches are reduced and they will be also a reduced neck. Thus, the cervical vertebrae are fused into a solid bony mass. Then zygophalanges are reduced, sacrum is also reduced, and ribs becomes arched dorsally to increase a thoracic cavity. What happens if the thoracic cavity is increased? There has been a lot of space for the lung expansion. So, as the cervical vertebrates are fused, this will and ribs becomes arched. So, this will provide a large space to form a thoracic cavity. Okay? Then the bones are light and spongy, and in cetaceous, for example in whale and whale, what happen, the bones are filled with the oil. Okay, the next point is the teeth. You have heard that the whale doesn't have teeth, that is toothed whale. Okay, uh, like and in some forms these teeth are monophodont, homophodont, and like various type. As they will be having as many as 250, and this will help in capturing or the seizing the prey, and this provides its escape and swallowing it without mastication. So usually what happens, the mobility of the jaws reduces as they have no function in the mastication. Okay, the next type, the next point under which the adaptation of aquatic mammals are classified is the loss of structure. Loss of structures will be include like what basically are present in the terrestrial mammals, and this while going back to the water, this organism lost that characters or structures. Okay, so in aquatic mammals there is a loss of few structures which were usually present in other mammals. Other mammals here refers to the this basically the terrestrial mammals. Okay, there is a loss of hair. Skin surface usually remains smooth and glistening due to the loss of hair, except for a few sensory bristles on snout or on the lips in some cases. Okay, then pinnae are also absent, and presence of hair or pinnae this in aquatic animals, mammals, the presence of hair and pinnae may obstruct or impede the flow of water over the body surface, and just to avoid, and this will interfere with the speed and elegance of the movement through the water. So, so the loss of pinnae in the this hair is not basically like bad for something bad that has been taken place in the aquatic mammals, but it is a positive point that they have lost it, because this hair and presence of hair and pinnae will obstruct while they are swimming. Okay, the next point is the necessitating membranes, then eye cleansing gland and the lacrimal glands and other kind of this skin glands, for example sweat and the sebaceous glands, are also absent in the aquatic mammals. Why it is absent? Because they would have been useless like underwater, because this all type of skin gland basically help in maintaining the heat loss or maintaining the heat. Okay, so or in thus it doesn't require over here, because they are uh, in the water itself, so it doesn't play any important role. Okay, so it has been totally absent. Okay, then the skin loses its muscles and nerve due to the thickening and the immobility. Then the hind limbs are presented only by the button like knobs in the fetus, but it will be disappeared in the adults. Okay, then the pelvis is rudimentary, fingernails are absent except some traces are found in the fetus. Okay, then the scrotal sac are also absent, and the testes remain inside the body. Okay, the next category under the aquatic adaptation is the development of the new structure. So, in this category, we are going to see what are the new structures that have been developed in the aquatic mammals. Okay, so first is the tail flux. In aquatic mammals, there will be a small, large, there will be a some large lateral or the horizontal expansion of the skin. Okay, and this expansion will develop into the tail. This expansion is referred to as a tail flux. It is not supported like a fin rays, like in fishes the tail is supported like a fin rays, but here it is not supported by a fin rays. The surface for breathing after, like the up and down stroke not only propel the body through the water, but it enables rapid return to the surface of the water for breathing after prolonged submersion. Okay, then next is the dorsal fin. There will be addition of dorsal fin. In most of the cetaceae develop a unpaired adipose dorsal fin without internal skeletal support, and this will serve as a rubber on the keel during swimming time. Okay, then third point is the blubber. In aquatic mammals, the blubber is a thick subcutaneous layer of the fat which compensate for the lack of the hairy covering. Okay, hence the hair is lost at the adulthood. So this blubber will take over it, and it will be compensate. It will act as a compensate for the hair lack of hair. Okay, blubber act as a heat insulator, and it not only retains the warmth of the body, but it also provide a reservoir of the food and water, and during emergency time basically. And this fat also reduces the specific gravity of the animal, thus imparting buoyancy. This blubber also provides an elastic covering that will allow changes in the body volume during a deep diving, and also counteract the hydrostatic pressure. Okay. The next point is the baleen. For example, in a whalebone whales, teeth are absent. So, instead, the upper jaw carries a true transverse rows of a numerous triangular fringed horny plates, and these horny plates are referred to as a baleen or the whale bone. And this whale bone serves as an effective sieve for straining planktons, okay, which forms their chief food. The plankton is mostly krill, KRIL. Krill is the chief food of the whalebone whales. Okay. The next structure which have been added in aquatic mammals are foam. The foam is a fine emulsion of a fat, mucus and the gas. Okay, and this will be present in the middle ear, and this foam will probably serve as an insulate sound for the sound, and improves the audition or the hearing under the water. Okay. The next character or structure is the melon. In some aquatic mammals, this melon is a receptor that will be present in front of the nostrils, and it consists of fatty mass that will transverse by a muscle fibers. It possibly serves to detect a pressure changes in water. Okay. The next is the Hadrian glands. In aquatic mammals, eyes under the water remain protected. And why this remain protected? Because there has been a special secretion referred to as a fatty secretion of Hadrian glands, and these Hadrian glands will protect the eye under the water. Okay, student, with this we have completed the aquatic mammals and their adaptations. If you have any question regarding this topic, then please let me know. Thank you.